If you're like me, you've been addicted to the awesome game that is Blueprints, running through the halls, finding the secrets to progress further and further with every day. But maybe you're struggling to find one or more of the permanent upgrades and the blue flames. Today, I'll be going through a guide of how to unlock all the permanent upgrades and the blue flames right at the end. Now, I don't want to spoil anything if possible, so I will explain where the hints can be found to guide you to these upgrades and unlocks, before then flashing up a spoiler alert like this and showing you how it is done. Be warned, I will have to say the name of the upgrade, but not what it does before explaining. It's just like my previous video on how to unlock all the safes and get the red letters. Before I get into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the support you've been giving. I wanted to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I hit it already in April, which is amazing to me and has warmed my heart, so I appreciate all the love and support and appreciation. If you like this style of content, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on that notification bell for more roguelike guides, tips, reviews and content. Now, let's get into it. First up is the Gemstone Cavern, most likely the first of the upgrades you will find. Well, maybe. It was for me, but everybody's had a different run. The first clue that you will come across is found in the mail room. There will be a note explaining the utility room and fuse box, and make sure to take some notes. This will explain the initial sequence or patterns required on the VAC indicators in the fuse box puzzle. Notably, it tells you how to go from green colours to blue, and then in collaboration with red lights, you can get the purple lights. It shows finally how to make all lights purple, which will be important. But what is more important in this note is that it states an email will be sent. So now, go find the email. To do this, you'll want to draft the office, as this is where you can access the relevant email mentioned on the note. You'll need to be able to log into the network via the terminal, which first requires finding the password. You may have come across this in a few places already, notably the security room or the commissary on the bulletin boards. But you will need a magnifying glass in order to see it. The magnifying glass is typically found in dead-end rooms such as the storeroom, the attic, the closet, the walk-in closet, to name a few, or just bought in the commissary. With this, you can read the password. Enter this into the office terminal to find the email that explains the sequence required after the purple lights and says white indicators can only be displayed after syncing purple. With this knowledge, you just need to find the utility closet and follow the instructions you have found. Then you'll figure out the rest. And remember, all this must be done in a single day, minus getting the password, as you can keep note of that. The password doesn't change. Spoiler. So, as explained, using the information that I've just gone through, go to the utility closet and do as I show here. This might not be the most efficient way of pressing the buttons, but should be close enough. Once you've done this, hit the lever behind the panel to unlock the Gemstone Cavern, which can be travelled to outside by going to the right and following the road around. Now, you can start each day with 2 gems in hand. Next is the West Gate path. To my understanding, there are no notes or hints in-game that guide you to this upgrade. However, it can kind of be pieced together through simply exploring. Once you explore around, you may have come across the garage, which is the first room that you're going to need to find. While in there, you may have noticed on the wall a pressable button that at first is red. It is also worth noting you can only draft the garage on the west wing, and I believe not in the corners, or at least not that I've found. Therefore, you're going to need a door to connect to the room from south to north, north to south, or going from east to west from the second column. You'll then need to find the utility closet again, which if you found already may have given you a hint to the garage's existence, as there is an on-off fuse for it. Hit this to on. Note, you do not need to solve the rest of the puzzle on this fuse box. Simply turn the garage up. Worth noting here as well, there is another hint to the garage's existence that you may have come across in finding the car keys, but these are not needed for the upgrade. Once the garage is turned on, go back to the garage and hit that button. You will find your way from there. Please note, you must do this in a single day. The utility closet buttons do not persist between days. Spoiler. The only major spoiler here, outside of what I said, is that you can unlock the gate to give permanent access to the outbuilding, which gives access to many secrets and progression within the game. And you can open this door first every day before going into the manor, or wait until you have enough rerolls to then go back to this door. The reason you might do that is because if you have 2 rerolls, there are only 8 options from this outhouse building. So with 2 rerolls, theoretically you should be able to get the room you're looking for, as it should cycle 9 of the rooms, of which there are only 8. Now we get on to the wholesome apple orchard. Exploring outside in blueprints will give you many other secrets. You can unlock this once you figure out the code to the gate. First, find the apple orchard. You simply need to follow the path to the east of the main entrance. Follow that road around and you'll soon enough find the gate that I'm referring to. Before you can find the code for the lock, there are several steps you'll need to take. First, you'll want to find the utility closet again, which contains the fuse box. While there's obviously a puzzle to be solved here, you can just ignore this and turn on the circuit breaker or the dark room. Make sure that this is turned on. The dark room is completely pitch black normally, but if you flip the switch in the utility closet, the lights will turn on. It's worth noting, if you've turned this on before finding the dark room, when you enter the dark room, the utility closet fuse will trip. All you need to do is go back to the utility closet, turn it back on, and when you return to the dark room, it will remain on this time. You can then search this room, find many photos, one of which may be able to help if you look closely. Spoiler. So if you follow the steps to turn the dark room on and come here with a magnifying glass, you can look at a picture of the orchard gate, which has a tree there, which actually, if you go over to the actual gate, the tree has been cut down. But that tree, when inspected closely with the magnifying glass, has a heart with the code 1128. There is a lot to find in the orchard once you unlock it, but finding it alone will give you 20 steps per day bonus, which is huge. Last of the main permanent upgrades is the Blackbridge Grotto, which is one of the most hidden upgrades. You may have noticed this sealed metal door to the right of the mansion, and if you were observant enough, you may have noticed power lines running to it, which is kind of your first clue of where you need to go. Using this information, you should know that you need to go to the boiler room for power. You will need to solve the boiler room puzzle to power the boiler. Once done, you can start drafting again from the doors connecting to the boiler room. You'll need to draft another room that takes a lot of power. Now, you may have already found this room, maybe you haven't, but the room that you're going to be looking for is the lab. It's worth noting that if you're looking for any rooms that need power, making sure that you turn the boiler room on and point it at that door before drafting will increase the chances of getting powered rooms. Once you have the lab, you just need to solve the puzzle within it, which is easier said than done. If you want to solve this on your own, the only hint would be to study the periodic tables in detail. Spoiler. So the periodic table has abbreviations of the elements written on them. If you pair the sequence from the other periodic table in terms of the numerical sequence from 1 to 12 and pair that up with the abbreviations, they will spell out push 3 after 9. Now with the power on in the lab, go over to the levers and simply pull 9, then 3, and the lab will be powered. This will unlock the grotto. Now once you do enter the grotto, you'll find that there are a couple of secrets to be answered in here in order to get the permanent upgrades. Now for those of you that need information on this Blackbridge Grotto once you get inside, I'm going to do another video which will give all the information on how to find certain things that are required for this room. For those of you that are just simply looking for answers, this is a spoiler portion, so I'll simply tell you the answers. The first place that you need to dig is next to the West Bridge Gate just here to find one of the microchips, and the second one is to have a mallet or a hammer in order to smash the vase just to the left of the entrance. You have to hit it in a very particular spot, but you'll find the other chip here. Once you've done that, you can go and place those to find your permanent upgrade.
Within the Blackbridge Grotto, you will also find an admin terminal that requires an admin password or key to get into it. As this is a spoiler portion, I won't go into how you find the hints required to get this code. However, if you simply type in LEEB, L-E-E-B, you will gain access. This is where the true permanent upgrade for the Blackbridge Grotto is found. This will give you access to control terminal timeout, which means that during a run, you can go to a terminal in order to access any other terminal's function.
Now, there are 2 more permanent upgrades yet to be obtained, which are in the post credits. However, I will do a separate video on these as they are very detailed, or at least one of them is. However, let me now give a quick guide to the blue flames. If you're watching this bit, you've likely found 1 or 2 already. If not, then please carry on as I will give hints to each of these anyway. The blue flames are pretty vital to the progression of the game, and if you've followed my guidance on the permanent upgrades, you may have found a few already. The first hint would be to unlock all permanent upgrades and continue to explore, as you will find the switches required for these blue flames if you've got those permanent upgrades. So I wouldn't say much more in terms of hints here, but for those looking for the answers, go on to the next section. Spoiler: the first one is found in the apple orchard just here. Follow the apple orchard section in order to unlock this area, and you'll be able to turn this lever. The second is in the Gemstone Cavern, which again, follow the previous guide that I've just shown of how to get here, and you should find the switch here. And then the third and fourth are in rooms from the outhouse, namely the hovel and the schoolhouse. Activate these 4 and you will find out what the blue flames reveal. So that's it, a guide to the main 4 permanent upgrades. I will next be doing guides on the Blackbridge Grotto in more detail, and then the additional 2 permanent upgrades, which are post-credits as I've explained. Look out for these in future videos, as well as a guide to the pesky billiard room puzzle. But for now, hit that like and subscribe button and go check out some of my other content on the best roguelikes coming this year. A final thank you to all of you for the love and support you've been giving. I've been Jammy Giraffe, sending love and positivity, as always. Jammy out.